people make up a lot of lies about how I was in the past, and they don't actually show proof. They'd say, oh, you called this person fat, you called this person a bitch, you called this... That's actually not true. You know, so show me the footage where I actually did that, because it's not true.
I was in hospital for 7 weeks suffering with pneumonia, septicemia, and was placed in an induced coma. I really shouldn't be alive right now, but I'm extremely grateful. I wish I hadn't done what I did. I took a whole lot of alcohol, a whole lot of prescription, non-prescription medication. I just thought everyone would be better off without me. No one needs me here. I just felt like all these problems would go away if I removed myself. I thought I was the problem. It was only until my dad and sister came home that they found me in my bed, and I wasn't being responsive. I didn't wake up when they tried to wake me. The paramedics then came out, collected me. I was then taken straight to Dandenong. At Dandenong I was intubated, which means that a tube is put down into your lungs so you can actually breathe. My lungs were struggling, my heart was struggling, everything was struggling. I needed that support. Luckily my dad found me when he did and gave me CPR. Apparently that had an impact on actually saving me and making sure I don't have any brain damage now, or really any major repercussions. Here I've got what happened to my hand, which I'll explain later on. They thought that I was well enough to wake me up from that induced coma the following day, but it was decided at 4 AM. They then contacted my dad and said that I had slipped, which means that I was not responding. I was becoming very unresponsive. My lungs were struggling again. My blood pressure had just plummeted. That's when they put me back in the induced coma, because I was getting hooked up to something that is called ECMO. It's a last minute resort to save your life. They were pumping there was all these lines through my arms, and they were pumping fluid into me as well as medications to help raise my blood pressure, because that was a serious issue as well. And a repercussion because of that is my hand. I've got necrotic tips at the end, which is sort of like frostbite. And then they found out that my right lung had become full of fluid. And I still struggle to breathe a bit. My lung, because it was full of fluid, had to be drained, and they couldn't put me under any anesthetic because I was at such risk of actually just like falling back into a maybe never waking up or actually dying. So they had to get a pipe or like a little tube, and I was awake the whole time and I knew what they were doing. I was in so much pain. I don't think, I can't even describe it. It was like being stabbed a million times, and I was just screaming. It was excruciating, and I still remember it, and I don't think I've ever been in so much pain in my life.
On the 3rd of April you were moved to a rehabilitation centre.
I hated it. I hated every second of it. I just wanted to go home, but I couldn't go home because then there was a problem with my calcium. So it was like one problem after the other. My calcium had become too elevated in my body.
hard to hack most people. If you listen to them, watch them, their vulnerabilities are like a neon sign screwed into their heads.
And so if anyone knows him, I know him, okay? And I like to think of myself as someone who is a good judge of character, who is carved up, who is rational. So when I say someone is a good person, they're a fucking good person.
She's really bad at reading people, but I'm good at reading people.
His heart is so fucking huge.
My secret, I look for the worst in them.
And there's channels that will hate on him and shit like that. But at the end of the day, the guy has the heart of someone I have never met in my life. Honestly, the most giving person I've ever met in my life.
I hope you're not mad at me, but you have to admit she's just like everyone else. Too afraid to peek over their walls for fear of what they might see. Not me. That's what I do. I look.
I've made excuses for her. I have defended her, and I have forgiven her for all kind of stupid atrocities. And I'm actually done making excuses for her. She has gone from hero to zero. She has fallen so far from the pedestal I had her on, which was so high, by the way, that it took her so many years to fall from it.
The warm, messy circle of humanity.